Hey guys, it's Rachel from the Little Ring Lamb, and today I'm doing the Lunar Chronicles book tag. So I was tagged by Tiffany from About to Read. You should definitely go check out her tag, which I'll link in the down bar, and her channel in general because she makes awesome book content. And the original book tag was created by Brittany of the Book Addict's Guide. And yeah, basically I'm going to get started. I'm going to link both those videos in the down bar. And this tag has a lot of questions, so we're going to jump right into it. So if I'm looking down also, I'm looking at my notebook and the questions which are on my phone. Before we get started though, this is kind of my history with the series. I've not finished the Lunar Chronicles series. I've read Cinder and I've read half of Scarlet and I got distracted and picked up something else. I think I was going for a reading slump and it was kind of a boring part and I didn't want to push through it because I didn't want to ruin the book for me. But I hope to pick up the series this summer and continue on because I want to finish that because Marissa Meyer's releasing a new series, which you guys have probably all heard about, and it sounds really good, and I want to pick that up and be finished the Lunar Chronicles series by the time I do so. So, question time. 1. Cinder, the Cyborg, a book that's often misunderstood or underappreciated. And I picked Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. Now, if you're thinking this, you might be thinking, how is this underappreciated or, misunderstood? I don't think it's misunderstood. I think it's underappreciated in this day and age. Now, when Jurassic Park first came out, the book really exploded because the book, if you guys didn't know, the book wasn't even published before there was a bidding war for the movie rights in 1990. I believe that happened because I believe this was published in 1990. Then when the movie came out, this book really blew up and so many people are reading it. But now Jurassic World, a lot of people just go back to the original movies where this text is very much different. And I feel like this text is kind of underappreciated nowadays because with Jurassic World, nobody goes back to this text. And Michael Crichton's a fantastic author because he has like more science and math stuff in this book and more sciencey, stuff. And I'm not a science person, I'm not a math person, but he does it in a way that you understand what's happening and what's going on. And I think if you're definitely a fan of The Martian by Andy Weir, I haven't read that yet, but a lot of people said it has science and math components and it's pretty comical. Now, this is not as comical, it's more dark, but if you like those components, I think you should pick up a Michael Crichton book. I feel like Jurassic Park, everybody goes back to the movies, but nobody really goes back to the source material, which is a very big shame because this book is amazing. And yeah, I feel like very underappreciated compared to the films, which obviously the films will get more because not everybody's a reader, but I feel like even people who read and love the films, a lot of people don't go back, and it's a shame. And then the second question is Kai, the Prince, a book about royals and royalty. I picked The Princess Diaries. I'm just holding up this book because, as you know, they're stacked horizontally, and I don't want to pull out the first book because, there's a lot of books in the series. But this series is by Meg Cabot, and obviously it revolves around Mia, who finds out that she is a princess, and royalty ensues. 3. Adri, the Evil Stepmother, a book of a horrible, cringeworthy parent. Now, any Pretty Little Liar book by Sarah Shepard would work for this question because those parents are seriously really cringy. They're not even they're kind of evil in a sense. Well, not all of them. I'm not going to lump all of them together. Predominantly Emily's parents, Spencer's parents, Hannah's dad. Hannah's mom, not really. She's, iffy. And Arya's parents, I'd say, are not that actually cringeworthy in all retrospect. But some of these parents, first of all, their parenting techniques, their kids have been stalked. And they know that. And yet they don't really seem to be watching over their kids. Yes, their kids are teenagers, but even me, who has not been stalked and who is generally, always in the vicinity of my neighborhood because I'm usually home a lot of the time because a lot of my activities are at home. My parents watch me more than these parents watch them. And my parents don't really need to watch me as heavily as these parents need to watch their children. And then they don't believe their children at all. They believe the worst in their children. And they're just, a lot of their things, I get, some of the things are very traumatic when you find out certain scary things, but it just doesn't seem like they're listen to their daughters. They don't really care that much. Well, they obviously would care for their child, but they don't emulate it. They kind of are, under the impression that once they're a teenager, they have reign of their whole life, when teenagers still need to be parented, and these parents really don't get that, which obviously the focal point is supposed to be on the girls and their stuff, but even when the parents do other parenting measures, they don't do a very good job at it, I find. Their solution is either to send their child away or make their child, volunteer or basically, yeah, send their child away. So, just don't understand. 4 is Eco, the Spunky Sidekick, a book of your favorite happy-go-lucky character. And I picked Becky Bloomwood from the Shopaholic series. She's the definition of happy-go-lucky. Yes, she has her down moments, but She's generally a really happy character. 5, Scarlet the Rescuer, a book of a character on a mission. And for this one, I picked The Maze Runner by James Dashner. Now, Thomas, I believe, yes, Thomas is his name. Basically, he's on a mission to find out why he was put in this place. And he's definitely on a mission, as well as the other boys are. And I forget the girl's name. Lucy, maybe? Something. I feel like it's Lucy, but it's probably not. But, you know, and the girl in there. So the boys and the girl are trying to find out why they're here, but predominantly Thomas because he's the main protagonist. 6, Wolf the Fighter, a book of a brutal fight with words or fists. I picked You by Carolyn Kepnes. Specifically, the last act, I would say, is probably the most. And it's more words than violence, but there is violence. And yeah, I just picked this. But if I didn't pick a book, I have a really good TV show option. The second option I'd pick if it was a TV show, I picked Dallas and J.R. Ewing. Because if you've watched that show, which a lot of people haven't because it's older, it's way older than me. It started like 17 years before I was born. So it's older, but his fights are just so good with his words. Like, he's such an evil character, like a love to hate character. And that would definitely be my choice. But for book form, I pick the fight in this because I read a lot of contemporary, so there's not that many fights. Even with words, the fights aren't that impressive. They're just like average, I'd say. But this one was pretty impressive. But kind of scary. Really scary. Yeah. 7, Lavana the Villain, a book with the absolute worst villain. And I picked Blackjack from the Outlander series by Diana Gabaldon. This is the 6th book, but once again, they're stacked horizontally, and I didn't want to pick up the first book. But he's just not even, like, he doesn't even have any likable qualities. Like, a villain with likable qualities is not too villainous, I feel, but he has no good qualities that I can see in at least the books I've read, which I'm halfway through the 3rd book. 8, Throne the Rascal, book of the biggest schmoozer, and I picked Suitor Keeley from The Spectacular Now by Tim Tharp. He's like the definition of 9, schmoozer. Cress the Hacker, a book about technology or sci-fi. I picked The Future of Us by Jay Asher and Carolyn Mackler because this is about 2 kids in the 90s who obviously go onto the internet. They see a site called Facebook, but Facebook hasn't been invented yet. And, you know, that's kind of dealing with technology and what the future will be like. So I picked this choice. 10, Ireland the Doctor, a book of an illness or revolving around medical issues. And I picked The Matchmaker by Ellen Hildebrand. And this one is, like, I don't want to tell you the health issue because it's kind of a spoiler, but this book is so good. It's actually one of my favorite Ellen Hildebrand books. I gobbled this up. It was the best. Well, not the best. It was really sad, but I found that I like a lot of her books, but this one was really heartbreaking. It was very emotional. It was just a really good one from her. And her books are like the quintessential summer reads for me. So if you haven't checked them out, I definitely recommend this one and also Castaways because that's my favorite. 11, Winter, The Unsound Mind, a book of the craziest character you've ever read. That would go to This Is All, the Pillow Book of Cordelia Ken by Aidan Chambers. And I picked Cordelia Ken. It's this one scene that happens that makes her really... She's not necessarily crazy, but just some of the stuff she does is crazy. And she goes from being very, like, pretentious, which, you know, I don't mind at all because I have my little pretentious side. But she goes from very, very pretentious to kind of crazy. Like, she's all over the place. And she's one of the most crazy, discombobulated characters I've read. 12, Jack and the Soldier, a book of a military theme. And I picked Legend by Marie Lu. I haven't read this yet, but I heard it has a military theme, so I decided to pick it up to showcase in this tag. And yes, that has a Lunar Chronicles book tag. I'm going to put some people I tag in the down bar because I am pre-filming this, and yeah, basically, that's what I'm going to do. I'll put the people in the down bar that I tag, and I'll thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.